say it's time for Bible study. Okay, so who wants to know what we were kerfuffling about right before we went live?
My hair.
His hair.
She told me I had to fix my hair.
I said, fix your hair. Oh my goodness.
I said, there's nothing wrong with my hair.
He said, it's not a fashion show. I'm like, I know it's not a fashion show, but you got to fix your hair.
I'm not here to be fashionable.
Well, you guys, it is week 5. Can you believe that? It has gone by so fast.
I can't believe it's been 5 weeks already. It doesn't seem like it.
We are coming to the end of I Shouldn't Feel This Way.
By Dr. Allison Cook.
Yeah, by Dr. Allison Cook. And I can't believe it. We are coming to the end. I hope that it has been good for you guys. I know we have had fun teaching it. Just a couple of updates for you guys. I want to let you guys know that next week is February break from school. And the church typically takes off from groups and classes that week. So we will be off that week. We will not be live next week. But then the week after that, we're going to be starting another 5-week study by the same author, Dr. Allison Cook. And the name of that one is, my brain. What was it? Boundaries for Your Soul.
Hi, Sandy.
So the next study that we're going to do, so it's a break. Hi, Sandy. I was just saying we're on our last week already of this.
It's gone so quick.
It did. It went by really fast. But we've been having a lot of fun.
We have.
So next week.
It feels good to be back in the swing of it again. You know, like how we did it from COVID.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And we both just said, like, now we're going to take a 1-week break. Like, I feel like we just got in the swing of it.
Back in the swing of it.
Tonight was his first night getting YouTube working before we went live. I was so happy.
Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, I was so happy.
Nobody's messing with cameras. Hi, Tammy.
Yeah. Hi, Tammy. So next week we'll have a break because it's February break from school.
Yep.
So there won't be live. There won't be any class. We'll still have church. But there won't be classes.
There won't be a Tuesday night Bible study.
Yep. And then the following week, we're going to kick off again for 5 weeks again. Boundaries for Your Soul with Dr. Allison Cook. It is, hi, Joe. It is also in the Bible app. You can go right in there and you just put Dr. Allison Cook in. It's a 5-week study. Again, just like this one.
Yep,
but it's another book that she's written.
And it's called Boundaries for Your Soul.
Boundaries for Your Soul. So I was teasing and saying, do you guys want to know what the argument was that we were having right before we went live tonight? And do you want to tell them?
She was trying to get me to do my hair, which there's nothing wrong with.
Sandy, I was trying to get him to do his hair. I'm like, come on, you got to brush your hair. He was like, no, it's not a fashion show.
It's not a fashion show.
I'm like, I know, honey, but...
Just like church isn't a fashion show. Stop.
Look at that.
Just like church isn't a fashion show.
I love you so much. Oh, my goodness. So I hope you guys had a great week. And I hope everybody read the study. Anything you want to say before we get right into it?
I've said it already.
You said, oh man, 10 words, right?
10 words.
Not 10,000.
Nope, 10.
All right. So what did you think with this one?
Well, it's like I told you. Thanks.
What?
Shane said it looks good. Thanks, Shane.
Aww.
Hey, Cece.
Shane's just trying to be nice to you.
So.
Is that my Cece?
Yes, you're Cece.
Hi, honey. Okay, go ahead. Tell me what you thought about this week.
I completely forgot.
Yes, I know.
Sandy said it's grand hair. And not as in grandparent hair, as in I have a grand head of hair.
No, she meant grandparent hair.
No.
She meant...
grand. My hair is grand.
She meant you're old.
No.
Go ahead. I'm so sorry. Tell me what you thought of this week.
Well, I told you I really couldn't follow along with her analogies this week. It's kind of...
You guys can drop in the comments, too, if you want to. What'd you say? Hi, Auntie.
Not you. You pay
attention.
Okay,
sorry. You guys can drop in the comments.
Swipe these off so you don't pay attention to them.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
If you guys want to drop in the comments what you thought of this week.
Yep. Like I said, it it wasn't hard to follow. It was just I was a little confused with some of the analogies she was using. That was it.
Okay. Did it make more sense?
Once you
when-
explained it to me, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was like I had no clue that it was about relationship.
Yeah. Did anybody catch that? That the quilt that she was talking about was about relationships?
I need a second.
Drop it in the comments if
I
you
hear
want
a
to.
dog in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. So the analogy of the quilt
He's sleeping right there.
was actually.
Never mind, he's sleeping on the floor.
Oh, okay. So the analogy of the quilt is actually really beautiful. And what she's talking about is that relationships are complicated, especially close relationships, long-term relationships. There's going to be seasons in all of them.
28-year relationships.
Mm-hmm. Oh, stop. You love me.
Yeah.
There are going to be rips and tears. There's going to be faded spots. There is going to be bright spots that you will remember. It's very normal. There's going to be wear and tear.
Mm-hmm.
It's very normal for relationships to not always be perfect or to be smooth, or really to even be joyful sometimes.
Yeah.
So that was the analogy she was trying to give with the quilt. And I actually wanted to read a couple of paragraphs to you guys. So each week that she is teaching, it comes from a chapter
In her book.
In her book, I Shouldn't Feel This Way. And I just wanted to read the first couple of paragraphs that she wrote because I was thinking it really spoke to me when I first read this, and I was thinking that it might really speak to some of you guys. So again, this is from the chapter, I Shouldn't Feel Mad at My Loved One. Okay, so that's the name of the chapter that this comes from. I am such a monster, Isabella exclaimed. I keep fantasizing about changing the lock on my door and shutting off my phone. So what I should tell you guys is she's writing about a client that she's talking to. Isabella said these words to me during a counseling session as tears welled up in her eyes. A wife and the mother of 4 kids, one of whom struggled with depression, Isabella lived down the street from her sister, who was raising 4 young children by herself since her husband had left her. Isabella's dad also lived nearby. Widowed and lonely, he showed up at Isabella's house frequently throughout the week. Isabella protested, but how can I feel this way about my family? My sister has so much on her plate, and my dad is alone. My own child is battling depression. What kind of monster would I be to tell them that I am not available? She was in a tough spot. Legitimate needs, including her own, surrounded her every day, and she was starting to break down from the overwhelm. So I just wanted to read that to you guys because I thought that maybe that would speak to some of you, and maybe bring a little bit of relief. I know it did to me. How many of you have ever been caught in that trap of you have all these needs around you, you have all these relationships that are really important, and you love the people, you really do, you care about them, but you're tired, you're worn out, it's complicated. And so I just want to say to you guys, it's normal, and you're not alone,
No.
and it's okay. It's how you handle it. It's what you do with it.
Yeah, it's perfectly normal to feel like that. Especially, after just losing her husband and stuff. Why wouldn't you feel like that?
Well, her sister
Yeah.
lost her husband. And so she now feels like I have to take care of my sister and feels guilty to say no to her sister.
And a lot of people feel like that. Like, it's their responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And they take that on, and it's not their responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that person asks for the help. So if they don't ask for it, don't take on that responsibility.
And you have the capacity to give it.
Yes.
To be able to give the help. But would you say it's selfish for her to say, No, I can't help. I'm not
No.
available.
No, I don't think that's selfish at all.
Exactly. But it's hard because we get in these thinking traps where we think that relationships are supposed to be easy and we are supposed to be able to give our all to everyone and take care of all the needs that are around us, all while ignoring ourselves and what we need. And if we say no, it makes us selfish.
Mhm.
Or as the example in the chapter, she exclaimed that she was a monster.
Mm-hmm.
So we all will experience mixed emotions towards our loved ones and towards important people in our lives.
Donna said, is it also people pleasing?
Yes, it's also people pleasing. It is also lack of boundaries. But the point in her chapter, in this chapter specifically that she's talking about, is the complicated emotions we feel when we feel certain ways towards our loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
And we feel like we're tired, we're worn out, we're frustrated. We think we make a mistake thinking that it should always be smooth sailing. But as she goes on to talk about in the chapter, any relationship that you are in that is worth its salt, there are going to be complications.
Oh, 100%.
There are going to be issues that arise.
I think the longer that you're in a relationship, the more issues may arise. And
It is very normal, guys. When we start heaping on the guilt on ourselves for feeling a certain way, when we start the I always should, I should do this, I should do that, I shouldn't say no.
Right.
I should say yes.
But then you start building resentment when you do that.
Yes.
If you're always saying yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
And then you start building resentment. I think that's what she was feeling.
And that is where, again, as Donna asked, is it
People
pleasing
Yeah.
and lack of boundaries
Right.
and lack of self-care
Sure.
in that regard. So what I really want to get across to you guys tonight, and I know what she's wanting to get across, is that it's okay for things to not be perfect.
Shane said you have to learn to let go and let God.
Yes.
That's a good one, Shane. I have not heard that one yet. That's a good one. Yes, let it go and let God take care of it.
You haven't heard let go and let God?
No, I've never heard that before.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love that saying.
I have never heard
It brings
it
a lot of freedom. It brings a lot of freedom.
Never heard it.
So when we're in these relationships and when these issues come up, we have to start to get comfortable in the and. And is when there's two opposites that are true. And it's, I love my children and I really need a break from them. It's in the example that she gives in the book. It's, I love my father and I need to not take care of him every day. Or I love my best friend who is very loud. Sometimes she embarrasses me. Like there is an and that's okay. That's a healthy relationship.
Sure.
And I feel like we come in with these expectations that this should never be.
What do you mean?
That this should never be. That
the relationship should never be?
No, that because okay, so like in marriage counseling, like there shouldn't be arguments. There shouldn't be disagreements. There shouldn't be feelings that arise. But when you live with somebody and you are married to them and you are doing life with them, it absolutely is going to happen. And it doesn't speak to who you are as a person or how your relationship is. What's important is how you deal with it.
Right.
How you handle it. How each person in the relationship or each partner handles it. How you go about it.
Well, and the counselor plays a role as well as a mediator.
You mean getting help, getting a counselor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you used the example of marriage counseling, so I thought you meant during marriage counseling.
Oh, in marriage counseling when people feel guilty because they're angry at their spouse.
Right, but that's the safe place to do it, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Or it
yes.
should be a safe place to do it, because then you could talk through it.
Oh, that's definitely.
Yeah.
But I was just giving the example of like,
I got you now.
for example, like in sometimes in marriage counseling, when people are carrying so much guilt for feeling the way they feel, when it is absolutely normal that you're going to feel that way sometimes. So going to counseling is a very healthy way to handle it.
Oh,
to
absolutely.
Try to handle it.
And we just had a really good question come in from Donna.
I was going to say, I see you smiling.
So Donna asks, is it a little prideful that you feel like no one else can do it? Like, I took care of my dad in the beginning when my mom passed because I was a stay-at-home mom. My brother worked and sisters lived out of town, and I was 10 minutes from my dad. So do you think it's prideful? Thinking that you're the only one that can do it?
Well, without knowing more full details,
And Sandy relates to Donna, she said.
it could be prideful in the fact of feeling like if I don't do it, nobody
else will.
will. However, I think that's more you taking on the responsibility, like, well, just because I appear more to have more free time and to be conveniently located, I should be the one to do it. To take care of dad all the time. And that's just not true. Just because you live in proximity doesn't mean it's your responsibility. Just because you are the one that's more available does not mean that it is your responsibility.
Right.
And Donna, I kind of liken it to like at church, if this brings a little bit of clarity to it too, is like there's a role that needs to be filled and you decide I'm going to fill it, even though that is not necessarily where God has called me to. But because I've got free time and, maybe because, I live close to the church, I'm going to be the one that does it. Because what that does is it cuts off what God might want to do. And it also cuts off creative solutions. So like in regards to your dad, you taking on the role all the time and never allowing yourself breaks or times could be, and Donna, you know me in my heart, I'm not pointing at you saying you did anything wrong, but stepping back and allowing siblings to step in, even if it means they
Give
have
them
to.
the opportunity, you mean?
Yeah. Even if it means they have to sacrifice a little bit, even if they get mad a little bit, that's good for them.
Right.
And it gives
she's guilty of that.
And it gives them an opportunity to connect and bond, maybe in a way that couldn't happen if we didn't step back.
Right.
Does that make sense? Does that answer your question, Donna? And yes,
she said, okay, I get it, or asking for help.
Yes. And it is also, there's nuances to all of it. It's also you stepping back. What can I do? I do live in close proximity. Do I want to do? How much?
How much are you willing to take?
Yeah. There's nuances to all of it.
Yeah.
What did Sandy say?
Sandy said she can relate to Donna, and Mariah said she's guilty.
What is Mariah guilty of?
Mariah, what are you guilty of? You gotta be more specific for the target audience, please.
Stepping in and, doing way too much, Mariah, because you feel like it's your responsibility.
Did we just freeze?
Oh, did we freeze?
I don't know.
No, we're not frozen on here.
Well, that's because we're broadcasting live, but over here on this live stream, we're there it is. Okay.
Are we frozen on Facebook, guys?
Nope, it's going now.
Okay. So go ahead and fill that in, Mariah, if you want.
If you feel comfortable doing it.
And Sandy, the same goes for you, sweetheart. Is stepping back and analyzing how much how much time has God given you? What is he calling you to do? What brings you peace? There might be seasons where 24/7 of something works, right? Because God has given you the grace. And then there might be seasons where it is a whole lot less than that. And that can be in regards to caretaking, the older generation. You know, you guys are kind of in a sandwich generation.
Yeah.
Older, you've got the older and the younger still. So that's even more of a balancing act.
Mariah said, feeling like it's my responsibility.
Yes, over responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And again, that's the same thing for you, Mariah, is just stepping back and like, is it my responsibility? Because I'm the closest one, or because I'm available, or because I'm mom, those are not necessarily valid reasons to do something.
Right.
So these bumps and these feelings that come, they're okay. When you add the guilt on top of them, that is what exasperates the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And the solution is, again, the same. You know, I sometimes I feel like, oh my goodness, people are going to get bored of hearing the same thing, but it's a tried and true of, it's stepping back and acknowledging. You know, Dr. Cook calls it name it. You know, name what you're feeling, name what the hard feeling is. I call it acknowledge it. Acknowledge that you feel like you hate your sibling because they are relying on you way too much, because you are saying yes way too much. They're popping into your house all the time. Acknowledge, I love them, but I hate them.
Right, so it's a control issue as well for her.
Yeah, that's true. Controlling it,
Mm-hmm.
trying to control it because you feel like only you can do it best, or you can make sure
I'm the one that can make sure it's right, or if I don't do it, nobody else will do it, or everybody else will do it wrong, or it won't get done right. Yeah.
Sandy said no.
I don't know what you asked her.
Yeah. Tell us what you're saying no to, Sandy. Yeah. And, you know, it's hard to let go of the control issues. Mariah, if a person has had traumas and has had hard things happen.
Yeah, you feel like you have to take control, because if you don't, it can hurt you again, or something can hurt you.
Yeah.
So I'm never. That's like saying, I'm never going to let him hurt me again. So you take complete control of every little minute detail to ensure that you never become hurt again.
Right. But you're not saying Mariah does that.
No.
You're just giving an example.
Yes.
Yeah. So the things that make these bigger.
She's saying no to freezing up. We weren't freezing up.
Oh, okay. Awesome. No, don't say sorry, Sandy. I love you, girl. I love it when you guys are talking to me. He makes me ignore the comments, though, so that I can talk. Frustrates me.
Mm-hmm.
The troubles come when there's a couple of things that cause the real trouble. It's one, ignoring it.
Mm-hmm.
Ignoring a perceived negative emotion, ignoring a feeling, ignoring your body when your body is trying to tell you that something isn't working, only exasperates the problem. It only increases the problem. You cannot ignore it until it goes away.
No, because speaking from experience, it only gets worse, guys. So don't ignore it.
But you have gotten better at that.
No, I have. The last couple of years, I've gotten really good at it.
Yep.
And expressing what I need and all that.
Guilt. I mentioned guilt, but allowing the guilt thoughts, the condemning thoughts to come in and take over you. Like she exclaimed in the book, I'm a monster. No, you're not a monster. You're a human with limited capacity, limited time, with emotions, with real needs and wants. And so is the other person.
Right.
See, that's the thing. So is the other person.
Yeah.
So the guilt and the shame and the condemnation,
Well, now you brought the other person into it. You can't go into it as a give-take relationship when you say, I'm the only one giving, and there's just taking, but they never asked you to give. Do you know what I mean?
So you're saying people, when you that can cause a lot of toxicity in relationships.
Yes,
So you're just
yes.
automatically doing it.
Right, without being asked to do it.
I wonder how many people struggle with that.
Oh, anybody else struggle with that? Where you feel like you're giving, and they're taking, and then you get upset because all you're doing is giving, but they never asked you to give.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever struggled with that before?
And that's a tough one.
That is.
I have been guilty of that before.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Shoving these things down. Okay? It's a little bit like ignoring, but just shoving down what you are feeling. Your emotions go down alive. I was going to ask you to say it, but I thought you'd look at me and be like, I don't know what you're going to say. Your emotions go down alive. So when you're in a relationship with somebody and you are having complicated feelings and you're telling yourself, I shouldn't feel this way, and you're shoving it down, you're shoving it down, you're shoving it down, guess what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I'm
You're gonna
shoving down.
explode.
You're going to explode. And 9.99, hear me, 9.99 times out of 10, you are going to explode on the wrong person. You're going to explode on the person that has nothing to do with what the frustration is.
Mm-hmm. So Sierra said, that is such truth, Uncle. That's me. I definitely struggle with that. And then a bitterness sets in. Yes, Sierra, a bitterness sets in.
Yeah.
And they never asked me to give. And Donna said yes as well with exclamation points.
Well, you know, to go off a little bit on that, I want to talk to you guys, you know, women tend to be nurturers and givers.
Mm-hmm.
I am not saying that men are not, but women do tend to be nurturers and givers, and we're fixers.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we see, especially with our children, you know, when we see them struggling or we see them suffering or something not going their way, we don't want them to experience pain.
Right.
Right? We don't
Right.
want them, you know, and it all goes back to a fear of death. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but all of it, rejection, isolation, abandonment, it all goes back to like, you're going to die. It's a fear of death. And we don't want that for our kids.
Nope. But experience is the best teacher.
It is. I mean, I can say, Sierra, you know this. Mariah, I think you know this. I've talked with you. One of my biggest struggles, you know, has always been protecting my son because, you know, I felt like he was so bullied in younger grades and bullied by people who were supposed to be his best friends. And I have wanted to lawnmower, you know,
Helicopter parent him.
And how many times have you said, but did he ask you to?
Oh, a lot.
When I've tried to fix or I've tried to make or I've tried, you know, and now I see the growth in him and I see the amazing man that he is becoming and the strength that's in him. And he just stands on his own. He's like, I don't care. I don't care what anyone, and he just stands. Like, and he doesn't look for that approval outside.
Nope.
And so now it's like, oh, okay. It only took me about 13 years to go, you know what? It's okay when he struggles. I'm not going to try to make it better for him.
No, because it's an experience that he learns from.
Yeah. And then, so it steals from them too, you know, and you do get bitter and you get frustrated and it's like, but wait, did they even ask you to?
Right. Crystal said that she's learned this the hard way a few times. And Sandy said, been there, done that with my boys. I think it's mamas and their boys.
It is also, I think, something with mamas and their boys. Like, I become a mama bear.
Yeah, although your son's twice the size of you now.
I know, but I still would. And ladies, and I'm talking to the men too that identify with this, but
And Brian said, yes, amen, you allow him to be.
Yeah, let him feel it.
Yeah.
Let him go through it. My job is to be here and You want to talk? I'm here. And it's in friendships too. You know, how many of you have had friendships where you have tried you've just done way too much, walked on way too many eggshells, and you end up in that bitter and that resentment.
Or, what's the other thing it becomes? Sometimes?
Codependent. Yeah. But ladies, I just want to encourage you.
And men.
And men that are identifying with this is that if you are the problem, you are the solution.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you...
Nobody else can fix it if you're the problem.
But if you can see these things, that's why the first step is acknowledging it. Acknowledge the feeling, acknowledge the behavior. But when you can recognize that it was you... that is actually, I've said this 100 times, I get excited when I'm the problem. Like, a lot of people, I mean, I'll be honest, I've had clients like run from me when I have been very clear that it is their responsibility and they are the problem. But I love it, because if I'm the problem, I get to fix it. So if you recognize that it's you and your behaviors, and it's your lack of boundaries, it's your guilt that you're pouring on yourself, it's your refusal to deal with things, it's you shoving it down, any of these things we've talked about, you are also the solution. You get to be the one that changes your mind and decides you're going to think different, act different, speak different. It can be very scary to have to change the way a relationship goes. To let go of control, as Mariah touched on control, to let go of control. Because we have this false thing that if we just control it all and we keep it all smooth, it'll be okay. And that's just not true. Life just is not okay. Like, I don't know how to say that any clearer. God is good. God will always, always be there for you. Good can come from every situation.
But it's not always uniform farts and sprinkles.
Right.
Unicorn farts.
Unicorn.
I said uniform.
You did.
I meant unicorn farts and sprinkles.
Wait. Okay. So once you name it, once you acknowledge it, you take a step back and you ask the questions. Same process. Why am I feeling this way? What is within my control? What is my responsibility? What is really happening here? And a really important question, again, for all of you women,
Amen.
that over is, what do I need? How often do you stop and take a beat and just ask, well, what is it that I need in this relationship?
And are you getting it?
Yeah. And so I'm going to put you on the hot seat. So Barry, if you ask yourself, what do I need, right?
I'm asking myself that?
If you ask yourself, what do I need?
Okay.
And you hear an answer. Whose responsibility is it to take care of that?
It's my responsibility to tell you.
Can you be serious?
It is my responsibility
to tell me?
To let you know what I need.
No. That's wrong. I'm really glad you answered wrong. If you ask yourself,
what do I need?
What do I need? And you hear,
this.
I need space.
Well, then it's my responsibility to say to you, I need space right now.
Whose responsibility is it to get space?
It's my responsibility to get space.
Yep. And you can do that by telling me, hey, I need some space.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to take care of your needs.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it's the, hey, I need some space right now, so I'm going to go upstairs.
But who took care of that?
That's what I was saying. Me.
Yes. That's what I was trying to get you.
That's what I was trying to say. We're saying the same thing in a different way.
Oh, you just don't want to be wrong in front of everybody.
Wrong.
He just doesn't want to be wrong in front of everybody. Just saying. So it's...
Oh, John said, since my dad died, I feel like I'm my mom's protector now.
Oh, John. First of all, let me just love that right there, that you love your mom like that. Is that a burden? Is he answering?
It takes a couple minutes, babe.
Okay. Is that a burden, John? Do you feel like it's too much?
Or
You
do you
know,
feel like
and that might be something where you and I could, if you wanted, talk on the side privately and kind of work through that. And because that's a tough one. Mariah said
it's both?
it's both.
Both people's responsibilities. See, she's right there with me.
Well, it is. But if I choose to disrespect you, if I choose to not do that, that's okay. It's still your job to get your space. And if that means you have to leave the house to get your space, get your space.
Right.
If that means you got to go up to the bedroom and lock the door.
Not like when we first got married, I'd be like, that's it, I'm leaving. And I go to the barracks and sleep in the barracks.
Yeah, oh my God.
That's not the healthy way to do it.
30 years ago.
Yeah.
So, you name it.
John said it's definitely not a burden, it's his pleasure.
Okay. And if it's not an issue, John, if you are happy, healthy, thriving, and you are, again, that's where that seasons can come and go. And by the way, I'm so glad that you're on, John. I absolutely love hearing from you again. Then that's okay. That might be the season that God has you in. It's when it becomes complicated feelings.
Yes.
You know, when you feel like there isn't an out, or you need more time for yourself, or you are taking on problems that are not yours.
I'm doing all this and my brother lives next door to him, or
right.
Yeah.
Right. And you're getting angry about that.
Yes.
So after you've acknowledged it and you've asked yourself the questions, figured out what you need, figured out, is this about me, about them? That is when you then, as I would say, take action, but Dr. Allison would say you brave it. And that means you take the step forward. And this is where most people will falter.
Okay.
Okay? Because once people learn to kind of pause and stop and to kind of figure it out, okay, the next step in order for this to work is you have to take action. And whether that is setting new boundaries in the relationships, okay, where it's complicated. And I just want to clarify with you guys too, with a boundary, we're going to do that study next. I said it in the beginning. If you didn't catch it, it'll be 5 weeks online, boundaries. But you don't have to have a conversation with the person that you're setting boundaries on yourself in regards to.
Right.
You can, but sometimes you may just need to put the boundary up and that's it. Period.
You don't owe them an explanation.
Period. But then you need to take the step of what is it that you need to do. And a lot of times it is just a conversation.
Yeah.
And if I could tell you the amount of stress and sweat and anxiety and fear that people have
from putting in boundaries
with needing to have a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's just so much fear. Why do you guys think there's so much fear? There's so much fear in having a conversation with somebody, with just putting it out there and saying, hey, I'm really gonna need some time to myself, or I need you to call before you show up at my door. Like, there's so much fear in it. And I kind of get it. It is anxiety. Like, am I going to lose relationship?
Am I going to offend somebody?
Am I going to hurt someone? Rejection.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of it, going to that people-pleasing thing, like, we don't want to be seen as the bad guy. Does anybody have any thoughts of...
Nobody's had any thoughts yet.
But I will tell you, just having the conversation, and most of the time we're so worked up, and I have seen it time after time where it literally was a 1-minute conversation.
Sandy said not knowing how the other person will react or hurt someone.
Yeah, the fear of hurting someone. I've had to analyze in myself too, where I will say, like, I don't want to hurt them. But the truth underneath that was, it's that I don't want to be seen as the bad guy. I don't want them to be upset with me.
Mhm.
It's actually like, for me at times, it's actually more of a selfish thing. Like, I don't want them to be upset with me. I don't want them to think I'm terrible. Or like, I'm thinking I know how they're going to react. And it's like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
So it's just easier to not have the conversation.
Right.
Sometimes.
Mhm.
You know? But having honest communication from love with people will strengthen your relationship. And if you having an honest conversation in love in regards to things that need to change or that are happening, and remember, you can't make other people change, you can only change yourself.
Right.
And they walk away from that relationship.
Mm-hmm. Or they accept the changes you've made.
But if they do,
Oh,
because that's the
sorry, I
fear,
didn't interrupt you. I thought
right?
you were
That's
done
the
there.
worst case scenario. Was that relationship really what you thought it was?
Right.
You know, is that someone you want to be, that you have to hold in your needs, your hurts, your whatever it is, and you can't express it? I'm not saying it wouldn't be painful to lose. It absolutely would. But is that a person you want to stay in a deep connected
Right. Do you want
relationship
to even
with?
be in a relationship with?
You know? And so just a few, I guess before I move on a little bit from that, I just want to see if there was any questions.
None yet.
Okay. So just a few things that I really wanted to just talk to you guys about in these areas when there's complicated feelings with people that you love, and you're examining it, and you're praying, and you're asking God to show you what to do, and you're going to possibly go into a conversation with them. There are some toxic thought cycles to be aware of.
Okay.
And so a toxic thought cycle is it's something that'll keep you on a loop.
Mm-hmm.
It'll keep you stuck. It'll keep you spinning. And the first one that I really want you guys to just check and be is assuming that the other person feels this, thinks this, is doing this because.
Give an example.
Assumptions are very dangerous.
Oh, 100%.
So an example would be I'm going to be silly, but every Sunday she walks in the door and doesn't smile at me. Now I'm being very silly.
Oh, okay.
I'm being silly. And obviously this is not a close relationship, but I'm just saying, okay? So you want to talk to them about it, okay? The first thing you need to do is step back and say, am I assuming anything? Do not go into that conversation accusing.
Already having an answer planned out in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Assuming. Even when you think that you know somebody so well, you cannot assume what their reasoning was, what their motivation was, why they do something, why they said something.
I think the closer you are to someone is the more likely you are to make an assumption.
Yes! How true is that? Husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, siblings, best friends. How true is that? That the closer you are to someone and you think you know them, how easy is that to just assume what their motivation was?
Well, I mean, if you want to look at it, especially with somebody who's been in relationships as long as ours, it could be you make that assumption based on past actions.
Yep.
Past, because we both done it.
Mm-hmm. And if somebody is growth minded,
mm-hmm.
I mean, hopefully we're all growing and changing.
Right.
There is a good chance that their reason or their whatever it was is not the same.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and again, this is a slight example, but the person that doesn't smile at you could be because they're shy. You know?
Or they might not have a tooth in their head. They don't like to smile.
Barry, I really hope you guys did not hear what he just said.
Oh, they heard me.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so assuming, you need to be really careful that you're not making assumptions, okay? Make sure you know the details. And one of the best ways to know is to ask. Okay? Projection. Projection. And something that was very eye-opening to me that just hit me like a ton of bricks. Projection is when you something that's inside of you put on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But have you ever known someone who is always taking care of someone else, who is always there in the time of they're cleaning up all the mess, all the needs around them. They're taking care of everyone. They're going above and beyond. Like, have you ever known someone like that? A classic case of projection in that is they themselves need caretaking.
Oh.
And they are projecting that onto everyone around them. And that is why they take care of everyone.
Gotcha.
That was like, whoa. Like, I knew what projection was.
Mm-hmm.
But when I read through that example, at someone that's always caretaking everyone above and beyond in an unhealthy way, they're projecting onto them. They themselves, their inner child, their inner being needs to be taken care of. So instead of taking care of themselves, they're taking care of everyone else. So just check, are you projecting onto someone? Are you projecting what's inside of you onto them?
Right.
And again, that can be really painful to discover, but it is also very freeing. Because again, you can change it.
You can change it. Yeah.
You can take care of your own needs. Personalization.
Yeah, look this way. The cameras are over here.
Oh, I thought the camera was over there.
No, the camera's right here in front of you.
Again, are you taking things personally? Are you making it about you
Okay.
when it's not about you
I wasn't
at
sure
all?
what you meant by it, but now I got it. Okay.
Personalization. Are you taking it very personal?
Sandy said that makes sense, Reagan, talking about projection.
About the projection? Yes. Yeah. Personalization, it kind of goes a little bit with the assumptions, but it's like the person that walks into church and they never smile at you. It's like, and you make it about you. Like, what did I do?
Mm-hmm.
What did I do? And this is a whole topic on its own. And I have told you guys 100 times, but nothing is ever about you. When somebody is upset or something.
The only time it's ever about you is when you make it about you.
Just so you know. It's always something inside the person. Just saying. Okay. And then greener grass syndrome. Greener grass syndrome. When you are always thinking the grass can be greener somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So it kind of goes like, well, I'll just end this relationship because I'll go start a relationship somewhere else that'll be better.
Or, you know what? The worship service at the other church is better, so I'm going to leave my church to go to that worship service.
Yeah, it's that thinking of if I go somewhere else or do something else or get in a relationship with someone else, if I just change something out here, it's going to be better when I get into that. And it's just not true. Because if it's something inside of you and you're taking it with you, that same issue is going to resurface.
Yep. And you're never going to be happy.
And it's just a matter of time. You know? I was sharing a different conversation, but Pastor Jeremy and I were talking about grass greener on the other side, and he said, I always tell people, water the grass where you're at. If you think the grass is greener somewhere else.
Sandy just said the grass is greener where you water it.
Yes! Sandy! Exactly. And it is very true. And that doesn't mean that you stay in abusive relationships. It does not mean you stay in toxic. It doesn't mean you don't try to change relationships. But I want to challenge you that having some of these conversations, oh, am I boring you?
Yes. Horribly.
Okay, you can take over.
Like, I am so ready to just go to sleep right now.
Having these conversations and taking care of these things, acknowledging the feelings that you're having, acknowledging the hard things, is watering the grass on your side of the fence. It does make the grass greener on your side.
Mm-hmm.
You taking care of you, it takes one person to change a relationship.
And not just water it, fertilize it too. Feed it.
What do you mean? Tell me. I agree with you. I'm just saying, tell me.
Well, I don't know. Like, feed it. What would you do to feed yourself? You know, gain knowledge, stuff like that.
Grow?
To grow. Yeah, growth. Personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, tell me what you guys think so far.
To yawn again.
Are you tired?
I am tired.
Yeah. Did you not sleep last night?
I told you I was in bed by 9 last night.
Oh, okay. So relationships are complicated, guys.
Oh, Sandy said nurture it.
Nurture it, yep.
Nurture your relationships, yes.
And you cannot expect that they will be easy. You cannot expect them to be simple, and you cannot expect them to always feel good. Even though that's what we want, and we do get stuck in that trap, it is just, it's not attainable, not without being very unhealthy. It's not good for your mental health to try to keep things always smooth and peaceful and perfect. But God created us for relationship. We heal through relationships. Yes, we also get hurt through relationships. It's both sides of the coin. But we weren't meant to live this life alone. And God wants us to have fulfilling and wonderful relationships, but it takes work.
We were built for a relationship.
And it takes time, and it takes energy. And it takes doing hard things. But there is fruit in that.
You got to water it, you got to nurture it, and you got to feed it.
Yep. And just a side note that I had that I wanted to touch on with you guys is sometimes, and I know that this is very hard, but sometimes in these sticky situations, you have to just choose to forgive. People are going to mess up.
We're humans.
They're going to make mistakes. And sometimes we're going to make mistakes repeatedly. And sometimes people do horrific things.
Yeah.
To each other. I mean, obviously, we all know that. But sometimes, I'm not even going to say sometimes, the very best thing that you can do that will impact all your relationships is to choose to forgive. You know, and again, forgiveness, that's a whole nother topic we can go down, but the bitterness, the resentment, the anger, you know, when we hold on to them, okay, and that doesn't mean you don't take the time to go through and process your feelings and process your thoughts and process everything that happened and feel it all. I'm not saying that, but releasing them, like Shane said earlier, letting God, releasing them and letting it go and forgiving it and letting it go, because it keeps you tied to them, and you will take it into every new relationship that you try to create. It's not even just romantic relationships. When you don't forgive, mom, that she stays chained to you, and those things stay tied to you. You will take that into every relationship that you go into.
Bill
So,
said relationships are difficult. I think that seeing that represents a degree of commitment.
mhm.
Yes.
Relationships are difficult, but they're also beautiful.
But Bill's saying, seeing that they're difficult is represents commitment to that relationship.
Mhm.
Like acknowledging.
Staying.
Yeah, staying.
Staying, even though
Yeah.
it's work, you're choosing to stay. And I'm so glad that you're on tonight, Bill. Yay. You're absolutely right. So, and it's maturity. I mean, let's be honest. Unrealistic expectations in these regards is just immaturity. And we all are immature in some
Mhm.
areas.
And John said forgiveness is a must, not just for them, but for us too. John, forgiveness is all about just for you. You know what I mean? For your healing process and stuff like that. You forgive somebody, but you don't forgive them for them. That forgiveness is for you to continue on and heal.
Mm-hmm. And to be able to move forward.
And that continue on and heal. Yeah.
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 Very good. Very good. Does anybody
have any questions?
Any comments?
What did you guys think about this series? I Should Not Feel This Way by Dr. Allison Cook.
Yeah, and in case I know I've shown it a couple of times, but I'll show you
if
guys.
If you want the book, it's right there.
I have read all of her books. They're all phenomenal.
Yeah, we did not buy this book just for the study. Reagan already had it.
Oh yeah, I've been reading her for Pastor Janelle posted something on Facebook I don't know when it was, but she's really good. The church, Jesus, the church is amazing. I want to say this the right way.
Okay.
But the church has been very remiss in dealing with mental health.
Yes, 100%.
And I'm trying to change that dialogue. Mental health and relationships and complications. Because you come to know Jesus, it doesn't just make all of those go away.
Doesn't mean you're just okay.
And because you struggle, I'm getting on another horse here, but because you struggle with depression or anxiety or panic attacks or fear or anger, or doesn't mean you're not a good enough Christian. Doesn't mean you don't love Jesus enough. It means you need coping mechanisms. It means you need to process. It means your nervous system needs healing. You need tools. And Jesus is all about process. And the church has been remiss on that.
Big C church.
Yes. And that's why I love Dr. Allison Cook, is because she is a born-again believer, but she is a psychiatrist. And she's very good at taking in the two. So the next study that we're going to do, we're taking a break next week, but the next study that we're going to do is Boundaries for Your Soul. So it's going to be...
JD or Crystal said #Stop the Stigma.
It is #Stop the Stigma.
Maybe we can get that trending. #Stop the Stigma.
That is JD. It is 100% Stop the Stigma, JD. This has been
Crystal was commenting
this
him too.
this has been so swept under the rug, and people have been shamed, and pastors have felt like they've had to keep perfect faces on and act like they have it all together.
Guess what, guys? Guess who struggles with the most mental health in the church?
The pastors.
The pastors.
Absolutely.
They're the ones that struggle with the most anxiety, the most depression. Mm-hmm. Think about it. You're sitting there listening to everybody else's problems all week long, and you don't have nobody to talk to. That's going to build up.
And so what we're working to change is allowing pastors to be real.
Yeah, 100%.
To share problems, to share issues.
The pastors need to have people to talk to as well. Safe, trusting people.
Mm-hmm. I could just smack you sometimes.
Me?
Yes.
What do I do?
Because you're sitting there listening to people's problems all day long.
It would depress me.
Oh my goodness. But you know what? It doesn't depress me.
I know it doesn't.
At all.
I know.
So be careful how you say that.
Why?
Because I understand what you're saying, but I don't want people to get the wrong idea.
I don't think they will.
We are a safe place to come and talk to. That's
Yeah.
what we want. But the point is, I get to be real back, and you get to know that I struggle too. You get to know that I have issues too. You get to know that I got to run to Jesus constantly, and I got to pause constantly and figure out what's going on inside of me.
Constantly running to Jesus.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be alive if she wasn't.
That's true. That is very true. Hi, Sarah. But it absolutely is the stigma. There is no stigma to it, JD, or there shouldn't be. So, hallelujah. Like, that's just, period. That's where I'm at, period.
Period.
How are you doing, Sarah?
JD said,
I can see Barry's point. Yeah. You have to be very good with boundaries. You have to know that you're called to it. JD, honestly, and I want to say this the right way because I don't like people suffering, but I get energy from it. I am never more alive than the days that I come home and
she's counseling.
I've been counseling all day. It's what, God has called me to. I believe that, well, I don't want to speak for her. I could be wrong, but I believe that Pastor Janelle is the same. So
Bill said, pastors are the medics on the battlefield, dedicated to healing the people in the battle.
Oh my God, you make me cry. Bill, that is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you for those words. Thank you so much.
Sarah's doing great with boundaries finally.
Are you, Sarah? Good. I know that we've talked a couple of times. You've been able to implement them in those areas that you have shared with me. That makes me very happy. So you have more energy then, right? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong screen again.
Yep.
You have more energy then, right, Sarah?
Still the wrong one.
Which one do I look at?
The top one.
Oh, okay.
She's talking on Facebook.
Oh, and what is this one? YouTube?
YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I know, but I was reading her. Can you read to me? If you're not going to let me read the comments, can you read to me?
It says, "See, Bill, you girls are repairing the reward."
Reaping the reward.
I probably should put my glasses on if I'm going to read.
And JD said, "More power to you." Yes, I hope that this study and these conversations that we've had every week, it's not that now all of a sudden we've all got it all figured out, but it's that the conversation is out there and that there's some tools in your tool belt to use. And again, to summarize, it's number one, for all these areas, pause, practice the pause, stop, reflect. What is it? Acknowledge it. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't run from it. Recognize that it's not a sin to feel, think. It's what you do with it, right? And then examine it. Question. Where am I at? Why am I at? What am I thinking? What am I believing? What is it that I need? And then take action, right? It's those 4 steps in all of these areas that we have talked about over the past 5 weeks. So.
That was it. That was the last one that came through.
Okay.
You done?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you guys got any questions for us? We'll leave it open for a minute. Listen, next week or this Sunday at church, you don't want to miss. We got another guest speaker.
We do?
We do.
Okay.
Cool. And I heard they have a really good word to bring.
Oh.
We'll have to wait and see who that is.
Awesome.
And remember that there is no Bible study next Tuesday because we're on break for February break.
Yep.
I always get spring break and February break mixed up. Winter break, whatever it is. So not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday.
Yep. We'll start back up again.
We're back at 6.
Boundaries for Your Soul.
Boundaries for Your Soul by Dr. Allison Cook on the YouBible app. Oh, John, absolutely. Share it. Share it. Everybody share this. The more people that share it, the better, because it's the more people that are going to be able to see it. So, yeah, absolutely. Please share this. boundaries for your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it.
I
right?
think so.
Church Sunday at 10, 231 South Massey Street. Invite somebody, get them there. And remember, just show up. See what I did there?
I saw what you did there.
Okay.
Cheese ball.
Yeah.
All right, you guys.
We love you guys.
We love you so much. If you need to message me privately or on the side, feel free to go ahead and do that. If you need someone to talk to, you want to talk one time regularly, you can message me. Whether you attend, just attending this Bible study is enough.
Yeah, there is no prerequisite to message us.
Yeah. So.
It doesn't matter. If you go to another church, that's okay. If you want to set up an appointment with Reagan for something, she does Zoom and all that stuff too. So feel free.
Okay. I love you guys. Have a great week.
You're welcome, Sandy.
And hopefully we'll
You're welcome,
see you
Sarah. You're
on
welcome,
Sunday.
JD. Welcome, Donna. We love you guys. We'll see you all on Sunday. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. We love you guys.